Welcome to Tab News, your weekly conversation about faith-based news and information. Tab News is produced by Tab Media Group, which publishes the Alabama Baptist newspaper, the Baptist paper, the Kids Edition newspaper, and a variety of books and resources, digital resources, actually. I'm your host, Jennifer Rash, and joining me today is Dr. Beck Taylor from Samford University, right when all the students are coming back. So
That's
welcome.
right. Yes, good to see you, Jennifer. Thank you. Yes, we are in the throes of the start of the academic year. And as I often say, if I can't get excited about this time of year, then I'm in the wrong business.
Right. I can't imagine. I'm sure the week has been super busy getting everybody on campus. Tell us what it's like, especially with this heat.
Yeah, sure. Well, we are battling a little bit of heat. Parents and family members are moving way too much, way too many items into very small dorm rooms on campus, and battling a little bit of heat. But we have a lot of volunteers that make sure that our families have assistance and that they're hydrated and
Mhm.
that they're as comfortable as possible. And so it's a very smooth operation. And it's amazing how seamlessly and how quickly our campus fills with students. We've had students on campus actually for the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Uh, Athletic teams report early, band, dance, cheer, student leadership of various kinds. And so the campus kind of comes to life slowly over a couple of weeks. But you're right to say that this is the Super Bowl of weeks because we will be moving a record freshman class to Samford this week, and welcoming all of those new Bulldogs is going to be a lot of fun.
All right. So record. I know we've said this year after year for a while, but what does that mean this year?
So we'll be bringing about 1,275 freshmen to campus this year. That is an all-time record for Samford. Our freshman class over the last 5 years has grown about 40% in size. And that places us squarely as among one of the fastest growing universities of our size and type in the country. As you know, we built a lot of new student housing last year in anticipation of growing classes. And so we're grateful to have those extra beds and amenities as we welcome another record class to Samford. We're so grateful for the Lord's blessings and for the trust that our students and their families put into Samford. It's really encouraging to see so many families and students choosing Samford University.
So you said 1,275 freshmen.
That's right.
If you add the upperclassmen and the grad school students and all, what's your number?
Yeah. So we'll have about 4,500 undergraduates.
Mhm.
And we like to say that about 75% of those are living on our campus.
Okay.
And so we're not quite there. We're going to come up a little short of that. We just don't have the capacity. But we'll have over 3,000 of those 4,500 undergraduates living on campus. And then when you add in a very healthy graduate population of about 2,000 students, we'll be over the 6,500 student mark for the first time in university history.
Wow. Wow. Remind me to wait till the break to drive on the campus. My goodness.
Yes. Yes. And parking is always an adventure on
Hmm.
campus. I like to say that healthy campuses that are growing are always going to have some parking difficulties,
Hmm.
but those are good problems to have. And fortunately, we did build a brand new parking deck last year as well. And so we'll be crowded, but we'll fit.
And I was so appreciative to see the visitor slots that you put in. Those have been nice.
We want to be kind to our visitors for sure.
It's so nice. They're not that they're always open, but it is nice to at least have the option. So we
Sure. Jennifer, whenever you're on campus, just let me know and I'll make sure you've got a spot.
so give up my little marker. That's fantastic. Okay, so help us understand, how do you pick who gets the student housing and who gets a bed?
Yeah. Well, of course, we have a commitment that all of our freshmen will live
Okay.
on campus. There are a few exceptions to that. Some students, for economic reasons or for other reasons, may choose to live off campus their freshman year. But the vast majority of our freshmen live on campus, and the vast majority of our sophomores as well. Again, with a few exceptions. Samford's policy is that students who are under the age of 21 must live on campus. And again, with very few exceptions, that is the case. But what we're experiencing is unprecedented enrollment and demand. And so that means if we're going to keep up with those standards and that policy that then we need to continue to add beds. And so as you know, last year we added about 650 new beds to campus, and we've just announced plans to build additional campus housing on South Campus on the south side of Lakeshore Drive. And we hope that that will add about another 500 beds to campus. And that'll keep us at about that 75% mark for the near future.
And that's the development that just got through the Planning Commission, but
That's
it's
right.
to go to the City Council of Homewood.
That's right. Yes. So we just got that development passed through the Homewood Planning Commission, 7-0 vote. Very few concerns were expressed. That is our campus. I think so. Some people don't really see that as our campus, but of course we have a very large track and field and soccer complex already over there. We own the office buildings that are over there. Very few people actually know that Homewood High School's baseball field is on land that Samford owns. And so that is already our campus over there. And so we've proposed to use it like a college campus and to put some residence halls over there and some dining amenities and some other things that will attend to the students who are living over there.
And how has this new version compared to the one that was a little bit more controversial last year?
Yeah, so last year, you may recall, we had proposed a much larger commercial development that included pieces of what we've proposed this year, but also included other elements of commercial development, other amenities that we felt like our students and community needed. It was a much larger proposal. We have gone back to the drawing board. We've listened to our community partners, and we've come back with a much more scaled down version of that, which again really just attends to our housing needs.
Right, right. And do you feel like the community is supportive of this new version?
Well, there are always people who will find fault with a campus's expansions, but for the most part, we've heard nothing but very positive things in the community. Again, I think, people had some understandable concerns about the scale and scope of the Creekside development. I think most people understand that as a growing campus and to use land that we already own and purpose, that building campus housing is certainly reasonable.
So do you own the land all the way to Highway 31 on South Lake Shore, or is that one?
Yes, so we own the properties on both sides of the high school. So on the west
Okay.
side, where the current development is being proposed,
Mhm.
we own the properties, of course, west of Homewood High School, and then all the way west of there to the retirement community there.
Okay, okay.
And then on the east side of Homewood High School, we own the properties that extend to about the Armory, if you're familiar with that
Yes, okay.
property.
Yes.
We continue to plan to use that land on the south side of Lakeshore, but to the east of Homewood High School as
Mhm.
our intramural fields and other athletic fields and things like that. Of course, those are wetlands that are ecologically preserved. As you know, here in Homewood, we love our salamanders. And
They did make the
so,
news, that is true.
and so because of those things, we're not proposing to change the current use of those properties right now.
Okay, okay. So if that were to go through and be passed, what's your estimate on when those would be available?
Well, we're really hoping that we might be able to bring those new beds online by the fall of 2028.
Okay.
So that would require us to be in the ground, in construction this January. Whether or not we'll be able to quite meet that time frame is unknown. That's what we're shooting for,
Mhm.
and I hope that we can make it because again, we need the housing quickly.
Mm. So when you became president of Sanford, and maybe even when you were president before on the West Coast, did you ever dream you would be dealing with so much real estate and development and building and all? Does that just come with it, or?
Well, for a growing campus, I think it does just come with the job. Campuses are small cities, and we've got restaurants and housing and public utilities and police forces, and I mean, we really are a small city. And so, one of the great privileges and blessings of being at Samford
Mhm.
is that I get to lead a community that has a growing impact and where more and more students want to attend. And so, thinking about where to educate and house and feed and
Mhm.
otherwise take care of students is a great opportunity for us and certainly part of the job.
Well, on the flip side, though, where do you stop? Because it is, I mean, it is somewhat trapped after a while. So where's the boundary?
Yeah, so I guess by definition, Samford is landlocked. We own a certain amount of property.
Mhm.
And of course, we're trying to work within the bounds of those properties. As we think about future expansion, whether that be new academic buildings,
Mhm.
new residence halls, and other amenities, there are portions of our campus that are underdeveloped currently that could be repurposed to accommodate that kind of development. So, for example, many Samford people who are familiar with Samford know the Beeson Woods area, which is on the east side of campus, between what some might call the main campus and our College of Health Sciences. The Beeson Woods community, which is a residential community, is a beautiful wooded community, but it's sparsely populated. And one could imagine, perhaps in the future, maybe the distant future, a redevelopment or repurposing of that land into a more dense usage for housing or academic purposes. So we feel pretty confident that with the properties that Samford owns now, we are good to go in terms of our future campus development. Maybe some future president is going to have to think about acquiring more properties, but I don't think that's going to be something I need to worry about.
No. Well, jump into just the college itself and the campus. Most if people are involved in Baptist life, they kind of have followed the story. But just in case someone's listening that maybe doesn't understand the Christian-centered part of Samford and the historical Baptist connection, can you just kind of bring us up
Of
to speed on
course,
that?
of course. We describe Samford as a Christ-centered university. And what we mean by that is we are a university that elevates the lordship of Jesus Christ, that's grounded in scriptural truth, and that is meant to serve the church. And so we take all of those commitments incredibly seriously, and they manifest in different ways. We hire only Christian faculty members to teach classes. Our Christ centeredness animates all that we do co-curricularly as we hope that students are growing in their faith, even as they're preparing for careers and studying and getting those hard-earned diplomas. So that sets us firmly in that category of Christian university. And we take that very, very seriously. We also recognize and honor our Baptist heritage. And while the relationship between Samford and Alabama Baptist has changed over the years, the commitment to honoring our Baptist principles and ideals has not changed. And again, that shows itself in a number of different ways. So, for example, the Baptist Faith and Message is the corporate expression of faith for Samford University. All of our trustees have to be Baptists. And so we honor that tradition in a variety of important ways. And while we're not technically an entity of the Alabama Baptist Board of Missions, we pretend like we are. And as you know, Jennifer, I show up and deliver reports and fellowship with fellow Baptists and enjoy doing that. And so we celebrate so much of our Baptist heritage in those ways. Uh, the Ministry Training Institute, which equips Alabamians and Alabama Baptists in so many ways, is housed here at Samford. So again, I could go on and on the ways in which Samford is connected to our Alabama roots. But we generally describe ourselves as a historically Baptist institution that honors the lordship of Jesus Christ.
Well, speaking of Ministry Training Institute, tell me how it's doing this year.
Yeah, doing very well. Scott Bush is our director, and he replaced the venerable Kevin Blackwell, as you know, who now is down in the Mobile Baptist Association. Scott's done a great job and really just has really sustained the momentum of MTI, and we're so proud of that program as it equips lay leaders and pastors and bivocational pastors and others theologically so that they can go into their church environments and lead effectively. And so we have educated thousands, literally thousands of Baptist leaders across the state through MTI. So it's going very, very well.
Good, 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 good. Okay, so Christ-centered university. Tell me who's your competitors out there? Who do you land with? What does this look like?
Well, we like to think we have no competitors, right? That Samford is so unique. And of course, that
But
would
you
be an
guys are
over
sending those envelopes with the sweet packets, right?
Yeah, that would be an overstatement, certainly. But I will say we are a growing national university, and that's our vision is to be the school of choice among national Christ-centered comprehensive colleges and universities. And so many of our cross-applicant schools would include ones that you're well aware of, the Baylors and the Pepperdines of the world. Of course, we compete for high-achieving students. And so about 75% of our students are now coming from outside of the state of Alabama.
Interesting.
And our fastest growing territories are places like Texas,
Hmm.
the Mid-Atlantic. South Carolina is a growing state for us. Tomorrow, I'll welcome some of our freshmen from as far away as Alaska and Hawaii. And of course, we have a strong contingent of international students as well. And so we're competing for students on the global stage now and with some very reputable institutions of higher learning.
Oh, wow. That is interesting to see 75%. What about the scholarships? Tell me about scholarships and how that percentages is playing out with your
Yeah,
student
so
body.
almost every undergraduate student at Samford receives some kind of scholarship,
Hmm.
whether that's a merit-based scholarship or a need-based scholarship. The average student at Samford only pays about 50% of our listed tuition price. And so we're very competitive with scholarships for students. And of course, we want we believe in what we're doing at Samford. So we want the Samford experience to extend to as big a breadth, cross section of students we can. And we don't want socioeconomic status or other things to hinder a student's ability to come to Samford if they really want to be here.
Mm. And groups like the Legacy League and all also have
That's right.
scholarships available. So there's
That's right.
the
We
bowl.
have scholarships from so many different areas. Last year, Jennifer, we raised 85 new scholarships at
Oh,
Samford.
okay.
Just in the past year, our
Mhm.
benefactors have been incredibly generous to us. You mentioned the Legacy League. It happens to be the organization that my wife, Julie, is the executive director of, and they raise scholarship funds for some of the neediest students at Samford and those that have particularly difficult life circumstances. And this year, I believe the Legacy League is supporting 27 students at Samford, and that's
Fantastic.
grown
Mhm.
dramatically over the last few years as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
All right. So this past July was your fifth
that's right. And
anniversary,
you remember
correct?
that because
Yes.
why?
Well, I had happened to have been part of the conversation back in
That's
2021.
right.
I was
That's
on
right.
the search committee.
That's right. That's where
Um,
we first met.
You had to put up with me with all the investigation that we were doing. So that was an honor to serve on the search committee, and it's been fun partnering and just seeing what all you've been able to do these past 5 years
That's right.
in your role at
Thanks.
Samford. Tell us what's it feel like 5 years later?
I was actually talking to someone earlier today about this. There are days when I walk into this office, an office that was used by Tom Quartz and Andy
Mhm.
Westmoreland, and I feel brand new at the job. There are days when I walk in and I think, wow, I'm at Samford University. And then there are days when it feels like I've been here about 20 years.
Okay. Right. Understand
And and
totally.
this person reminded me, well, you've tried to fit about 20 years into
Mm.
your first 5 years. And I think there's some truth to that as well. But I will say the same thing today that I said 5 years ago,
Mhm.
and that is it is an honor of a lifetime to be able to serve this community, the Samford community, as president. As you
Mhm.
know, it's a community that I've known and loved for a long time. My roots with Samford go back many, many years. But to be able to be in this position, particularly in this season of the institution's history, has just been an incredible thrill. And Julie and I are affirmed day in and day out that God has us here for a reason, and we couldn't be happier.
Mm. Well, you definitely did come in with the 20 years and five, and I remember that being one of the conversations where we figured that out pretty fast. We're like, okay, we better make sure everybody's ready for the energy that's coming because it's going to happen, and
Yeah,
that's been fun to watch.
thank
Just
you.
watch. So, okay, so a quick note on the sports side of things. I know the
Yeah.
sports area has just continued to broaden in different ways. Tell me what the Bulldogs are up to.
Yeah, thank you. I think one of the things that distinguishes Samford is that we are a Division One athletics program.
Hmm.
And last year we had a good year for Samford athletics, even though we didn't compete quite as well in a couple of sports, primarily football. And I'll come back to that in just a moment. But last year, even though we had maybe some might argue a little bit of a down year, we still won 7 Southern Conference championships.
Hmm.
Our women's athletics program finished second in the conference for overall competitiveness, our men third in the conference. And importantly, Samford walked away for the eighth straight year with the graduation success rate award, which means that we graduate the most students.
Oh, that's
The
right.
academic profile of our athletics program is tops in the league. So we're very proud about that. Coach John Gross is our new head football coach.
Mhm.
And we're super excited for him to have his first game here in a couple of weeks, 11 days, I believe, when he takes on the
Wow.
University of North Alabama. And so the Gross era of Samford football has begun, and we're certainly very excited about that. Lenny Akoff will be in his second season this fall as our head men's basketball coach. But perhaps the most exciting story last year was our women's basketball team. Coach Matt
Absolutely.
Wise took that team to the NCAA women's basketball tournament, which was a lot of fun to watch. And so you're right, athletics is an important front door to the university. So many people know Samford through our excellent athletics program, and we're excited for a good year, a great year for the Bulldogs.
Good, good, good. And my area of where I was at Stanford at Beeson Divinity School seems to be
Yes.
doing really well, and each of the each of the schools really.
Yes, yes, and Beeson in particular is growing. We're seeing more and more students grow. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think over year, they're up over 20 students in
Mhm.
their MDiv program. We've had some incredible benefactors come to the table that have helped us to fund some new scholarships in that area. You know, Beeson still maintains this idea that face-to-face instruction is important. And while I'm certainly not critical of other seminaries that have turned to more online modes, we here at Samford and at Beeson really believe that incarnational community residential preparation is important, but that's expensive. And so we need to have benefactors come along and help us to fund scholarships and other things. And they've been doing just that. And that's what's fueling some of the growth at Beeson.
Well, good. Well, we've enjoyed continuing to partner with many of the professors through they help us with our Sunday school curriculum,
Mhm, mhm.
commentaries, both Stanford University and University of Mobile, and we really appreciate your
Good,
partnership there and
good.
letting them be published in that way. It's worked out really well. So,
Yeah.
all right, one final thought: if somebody's headed through Birmingham and they want to stop by campus, what's one or two things you would say? Make sure you check out.
Come see us. This last year, Samford was recognized among the top 35 most beautiful campuses in the country by US News and World Report. And anybody that knows Samford knows that it is an incredibly beautiful place. And so I would encourage folks, if you're coming through Birmingham, turn off of Lakeshore Drive, come find one of those visitor parking spots and get out and just walk our park-like campus. I promise you, you will be encouraged. You will be encouraged to see young people interacting in healthy ways, and come get to know us. If there's somebody out there that has heard about Samford and wants to know more, I would encourage them to contact my office. We would love to put them in further contact with folks around campus. But come see us. Come see some of our new facilities. Come get a meal in the caf and get to know Samford University. It is a crown jewel in Christian higher education.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, Jennifer.